Today's video is sponsored by Driftless Leather, USA-made, hand-tooled leather goods. If you're in the market for a customized leather strap, belt, hat, or pick guard, talk to Dustin at Driftless Leather. He'll work with you on a personalized design and give you the kind of bespoke style no one else has. You can find him on Facebook and Instagram, and remember, when you support my sponsor, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it.
Hey y'all, it's Shitpost Friday.
Hello dudes and dudettes, Brad the Guitarologist here. It's time again for another
Shitpost Friday.
First up in the news this Shitpost Friday, Gibson is back in the news once again. They have announced that they're creating a Murphy Lab, which is going to be a division of their custom shop run by the legendary guitar aging specialist Tom Murphy. Tom Murphy is famous for doing RELIC style guitar work. And the aim of Murphy Lab will be to try to replicate a lot of older guitars, I guess are of historical note or historical value. So you're probably going to see a lot more relicking and a lot more reissues of historic type guitars probably coming out of the Gibson custom shop. They've also hired a new head of custom shop. Sergio Villanueva, who used to work at Taylor, is the new head of the Gibson custom shop. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out of Gibson in the years ahead. I don't announce like new product launches or any of that kind of stuff on this channel. It's just not what I'm about here. We don't really do that. I'm more interested in like the goofy news than somebody's product launch. But I did think that this was pretty cool, pretty awesome. And I think that it also is a sign of the times because we've got a situation now where I think fewer guitar players are actually playing with other people. A lot of guitar players are content to simply play by themselves or learn by themselves. And these Boss headphones, I think, are kind of a sign of that and probably will sell very well. Because if you think about it, you know, having a guitar Bluetooth just with a little plug that comes out of the guitar and straight into some headphones, with all of the amp settings on the headphones already, makes a hell of a lot of sense and probably is going to pretty much destroy the student amplifier market, I would have to say. I mean, Boss makes great stuff too, so I would imagine that with the amount of stuff that they can cram in a set of headphones is going to be pretty vast. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of different effects. Well, they say over 50 effects in this thing. 5 different amp types, of course the Bluetooth connectivity. So it'll be really interesting to see where they go with this, and also what kind of quality the headphones and everything are. I would have to assume, once again, it being a Roland product, Boss, it's probably going to be pretty damn good. I would definitely like to try a set out. Tones and controls come courtesy of the Boss's stage class Katana amplifiers with full customization, available via the free Boss Tone Studio app for iOS and Android. So you'll probably be able to control everything, I'm guessing everything about your headphones from an app on your phone, and there's also little controls on the headset as well. Looks like they've got a little scroll wheel that's easy access. So yeah, this could be like really cool and potentially revolutionary. So like I said, I usually don't follow product launches, but I did think that this was kind of cool. This is a story I thought was kind of interesting, kind of sad. The estate of Randy Rhoads, his family have a little museum set up in his honor. And on Thanksgiving, a collection of Randy Rhoads gear and memorabilia was stolen from the Musonia School for Music. Again, that was the school of music that was founded by Randy's mother, Dolores, or Dee, after his death. It doesn't really give a detailed list of everything that was stolen, but a couple of things that were stolen were a 1963 Harmony Rocket guitar and a prototype of his signature Marshall amplifier head in white. Those items have not been found, but a lot of the other items have been found, and they were recovered in a dumpster in North Hollywood, which is just, I mean, imagine that. Imagine some of those items ending up in the dump. Ozzy Osbourne offered a $25,000 reward for the return of the items. Apparently, though, the reward is no good for just the return of 1 or 2 items. It has all of the stuff has to be returned in order to in order to cash in on the money. Hopefully somebody does at least turn in the person responsible for this, or anonymously send the stuff back and claim the reward somehow. It'd just be really sad to see Randy Rhoads memorabilia lost to the world because of some selfish asshole. And some local Kentucky-based guitar news. NPR's reported on this, which is an Appalachian musical instrument building course that people can take as a sort of recovery from drug addiction. Anybody who's followed, the opioid crisis in the U.S. knows that the South, and in particular Eastern Kentucky, has a big problem with opioid addiction.
To eastern Kentucky now. It's one of the regions hardest hit by the opioid crisis. One tiny community is trying to help people in recovery by leaning into their local mountain music heritage.
The small town of Hindman is surrounded by the Appalachian Mountains. It's off the beaten path, and since its establishment in the 1800s, people have been getting together and playing music.
No, we played it this year.
In fact, one of the few businesses in the town is the Kentucky School of Luthery, which teaches people how to build stringed instruments. Doug Naselrode is the program's founder. He's from Kentucky, and in his work he's built guitars for people like John Prine, Lyle Lovett, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Tonight, Naselrode is coaxing several nervous musicians on stage, most of whom are in recovery from drug addiction. Here's Scott Beatty.
I just had a sister recently pass away, another one. She died of ALS, and I wrote this for my mom and my dad, so bear with me if I get through it without crying.
Mommy's crying now, and everything's so cold. Daddy's lying on the bathroom floor.
Beatty is learning to make stringed instruments at the Luthery School through a program called Culture of Recovery, which Naselrode founded 2 years ago. All of the people in the program are recovering from drug addiction. And through this school, the small town of Hindman is rebuilding its identity on the backbone of its musical heritage. So far, about 40 people have been through the program.
And it seems to follow places where the local economies have been decimated, such as Eastern Kentucky, where the coal industry has been decimated. And it's just, really sad, when people are left with no choice, no jobs, nowhere to turn, really. But this is kind of cool. This school is helping these people on the road to recovery by teaching them to build stringed instruments. Also in Kentucky news, thought this was kind of interesting. A Kentucky judge could face impeachment for misconduct charges. I read through this, and it says this judge, who is female, had engaged in sex, loud guitars, and drinking inside the courthouse. But I scrolled all down through here, and I couldn't find anything that I'd classify as misconduct.
Gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal.
It says a Kentucky judge is facing potential removal from office after a judicial watchdog agency charged her with a buffet of misconduct. A buffet. Including allowing alcohol and loud guitar in the office and having sex with her staff in the courthouse. Scandal has led some lawmakers to consider impeachment. I mean, is there specifically a law against that, though? I mean, against, sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the courthouse? That's essentially what it is. It's like, this is the coolest judge. If you're going to go before a judge, this is the one you'd probably want to go before. Speaking of sexual activity, 69 News, yes, that's right, 69 News is reporting that a local guitar company finds a way to reuse debris from Superstorm Sandy. Sandy was a hurricane that hit, I don't know, was it last year or the year before? Anyway, a year or two ago. This story is about Martin Guitar, who reclaimed some of the wood from downed trees from Hurricane Sandy and used it to build some guitars.
A local company found a way to reuse some of the debris the storm left behind.
Superstorm Sandy left behind a mess in the Lehigh Valley, but from the downed power lines and trees have come several finely crafted instruments.
Oh, I was blown away. It's a spectacular guitar. It's a beautiful guitar.
Fallen trees from Jacobsburg Environmental Education Center in Northampton County have been reclaimed by Martin guitar makers. Only 3 of them were made.
Sustainability here at Martin Guitar has become a core value for us, and so we try and work it into everything we do.
Martin Guitar's Frank Untermeyer says the reclaimed wood instruments are part of a larger sustainability effort by the company, which sources products from around the world. He says Martin and the Jacobsburg Education Center have a long-standing relationship.
We try to use some woods that would be tone woods of sorts, so they sound good on a guitar. That's the whole trick.
2 of the guitars are on display in the Martin lobby and inside the Jacobsburg Education Center. The 3rd is in the Martin archive.
It's interesting because the guitars don't appear to have, you know, your typical tone woods that you would associate with a Martin guitar, but this was done as kind of an experiment to see what sort of guitars they could make with the, I guess, the local stuff that had been knocked down during Sandy. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Martin continues, in my opinion, along with probably Taylor, to lead the way in like this sort of sustainability efforts that they have going. Martin, for a long time, has used the waste product from their milling efforts to help heat and cool their building. You know, I definitely think Martin is one of those companies to be emulated. I don't know if they're as bad as like some of the others in terms of you know, throwing away entire guitars or bandsawing guitars in half like Gibson does. Hopefully they're not doing that. But even if they are doing that, they're at least making efforts to reclaim the wood in some measure. Speaking of guitars made of unusual materials, I saw this the other day and I thought this was just ridiculous. This guitar's been nailed more times than Linda Lovelace. It has about I don't know how many nails it says that it has in it, but it's quite a lot of them. But they're selling this thing on, are they selling on Reverb for $1,995. Has a burnt maple neck featuring a fretboard with a 16-inch radius, blah, 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 blah. But the biggest fucking thing is that it's just, the body's predominantly made of nails. Would be about the most uncomfortable thing to hold and play you can imagine. But I mean, it looks to me like this thing really should be considered more of a piece of art than a playable guitar. You just hang this on the wall as a curiosity and a piece of art. And I think as a piece of art, it succeeds, but as an electric guitar, no. I mentioned in the last video I did, there's this kind of trend of building electric guitars out of every possible thing you can imagine. You know, people have built them out of skateboards and colored pencils and now nails to more, you know, varying degrees of success. But I think it's probably about time people, luthiers, use this energy and try to figure out how to design and build a better acoustic guitar for a change. You know, let's get some good acoustic builders going. I think it could be interesting for a change. You know, a lot of you guys who build electric guitars, try your hand at an acoustic. I know it's more difficult. There's a lot more involved, but you know, I think it could be a rewarding thing, and I think there's something magical in building a really good acoustic guitar that resonates well. It'd just be interesting to see what some of these luthiers could come up with if they just try their hand at it. All right, that'll do it for the news. Okay, I am way behind on viewer mail, so let's get to some viewer mail. All right, this package is from Dale Ingram. If you guys will recall, Dale is the one who sent me that other package with the electric mandolin recently. So we'll see what Dale has sent here. I think I have a good idea what it might be, but okay. So here's the nitty gritty. Let's see what Dale has sent. Okay, so the first record is a Audio Fidelity stereo disc. What does it say? Compatible stereophonic phonograph record engineered for the finest stereophonic high fidelity. Oh, here we go. Lionel plays drums, vibes, piano. Who is this? Lionel Hampton. Okay, I've heard of him. Yeah, cool, right on. I can tell this is well cared for. This is really a crisp, that's a crisp copy of that. Robbie Krieger. Cool. That's pretty awesome. I've never even seen this disc before. Cool, looks like we got John Densmore on drums on a couple of these tracks. That's pretty cool. Ray Manzarek plays on this one as well. Looks like they redid the Crystal Ship. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that one. Very cool. Oh, Oscar Peterson. Right on. That dude's a monster. If you guys haven't heard Oscar Peterson on piano, you're really missing out. That dude is a flat-out monster on piano. Just killer stuff. Jazz pianist. Oh, Johnny Cash, Gospel. Cool. The Gospel Road. Story of Jesus told and sung by Johnny Cash. Right on. Well, if anybody's going to tell it, I'd prefer it be by Johnny Cash. Yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you. Let's see what we got here. Some Stanley Brothers. Oh, that's signed by Ralph Stanley. Wow. That's going straight in a sleeve. Wow, dude. That's like the other thing he sent me. He sent me a CD case that was signed by Bill Monroe. That's pretty awesome. Wow. Dude, thank you, Dale. Appreciate that, man. That's super cool. I got this package earlier in the week. It's from a Tristan Meiselbach from Monroe Township, New Jersey. It's very, very light. I mean, very light. It's almost like there's nothing in it. Okay, he's giving me some tape. Probably for my mouth. I bet this is going to say something like, here, tape your mouth shut. I'm surprised nobody's done that yet. Like something like, here, stick this up your ass, you fucking homo. Oh. I'm kind of surprised I haven't gotten any hate mail, like, joke hate mail. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, man. Oh, okay. I remember what this is. Greetings, Gitbox Brad. Fender. What is this? Finsterminator. Finsterminator. Okay, the Finsterminator here. With an exciting new avenue in AmpTech technology. The solder connections tester / AmpTech wire manipulation tool, the Scatawamet, or what I like to call the Scatawampet, has finally been realized. No more slogging through the old AmpTech wire manipulation tool. The Scatawamet is designed to make the AmpTech's life easier and more efficient. Not sure what a wire manipulation tool is. Well, I know what my wife thinks it is. We won't get into that. At the moment, it's a used chopstick, and honestly, Brad, I think I can still see the General Tso's chicken and boneless spare ribs you enjoyed on that chopstick. No, I didn't. That's not a used chopstick. Actually, I gave away my original chopstick. My original chopstick went to a fellow. Where was he located? He was over in Eastern Europe. I shipped it over to him, just as a little gift. I think I signed it and sent it to him. It was like the chopstick that I used in most of my earlier videos. Is the Scatawamp a clean chopstick? No, it is a handmade American cherry wood chopstick upgrade. If this sounds like something that interests you, over. Good stuff. Please remove the Scatawamp from its packaging. Okay, let's do that. Let's do as he says and remove it. I'm assuming that's what's in here, and it's not this. Is that double-sided tape? Because I could really use some double-sided tape, but no. You've given me just regular old dusty for some reason. What's up with all the dust? You send along, you accidentally send me your tape, you know, and it's your dustiest roll of tape. Am I gonna be able to catch flies in this with this thing like Mr. Miyagi style? Because I've always wanted to do that. Or I guess I should say Daniel style, because he was the one who caught the fly. Okay, the Guitarologist. Cool. Look at that. Get box Brad. Get down, suckers. It's got a handle. Okay, let's hear this thing explained. Please remove from its packaging. Already accomplished. Okay, all kidding aside, I really hope this helps. The fins are meant to help with the what? Carpal tunnel? Is that what you're saying there? Carp ton? Man, you've got some weird turns of phrase here, buddy. Carp ton is, I guess, carpal tunnel. And just make it more comfortable while actually giving you, albeit, a bit more control. Now, albeit, a bit more control. Man, either I'm dyslexic or you have the most dyslexic-inducing writing style I've ever seen. It was designed to be held pencil style, yeah. With the Guitarologist facing upwards, right? See, I already figured that out. Shit, I don't need these instructions.
Yeah, I don't need this shit.
I usually throw away instructions like this. Who needs this shit? You're going to teach me how to use a piece of stick. It's held pencil style. Guitarologist facing upwards. But I find tripoding it in any direction works. Okay, I don't know what that means. There are 2 grooves carved in at the point. I did notice that. I have a couple of grooves here. I wonder what those might be for. Okay, grooves carved into the point. These are meant to give you more control and purchase on the wires. The groove on the point is the main one. Okay, let's see, we got little grooves there. See the grooves? See them? See? This is the most ridiculous box opening I think I've ever done. Okay. These are meant to give more control and purchase on the wires. The groove on the point being the main one, which I think will actually make it easier to check solder test points. I hope it helps in its own little way. Thanks for doing your show, Brad. There's lots of us that really enjoy it, brother. Man, that is so freaking cool. See, little things like this, dude. Little things like this, man. It was a 1x1 piece of cherry, yeah, I had from another project. I cut it to size on a chop saw and then roughed out a shape on a sander. This is the extent of the power tool I used. The dowel sections were rounded with a carving knife. So you sat and whittled this like old school style, right? You sat there while like all the neighborhood kids watched you, and you wove tales of yore, and talked about all your high school conquests, and how you should never suck the juice out of a tractor. Right? You imparted all your wisdom, and while you whittled this on the front lawn under the shade tree. Good stuff, man. You put some time into it. Then 5 coats of, what is this? 5 coats of linseed oil. Wow, with 24 hours between coats. Man, so it took you 5 days. You did this, you worked on this thing for more than 5 freaking days. That's admirable. 5 coats of linseed oil allow me to wipe it off, so let the natural beauty of the cherry wood shine. From whatever that says. That's only slightly less legible than the rest of this. I'm just teasing, man. That's cool as shit, Tristan. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it very, very much. All right, I'll give you 3 guesses what's in this package. This is from John McMullen of Oxford, New York. Okay. Are you serious? What the oh my god, dude. Oh, dude, this is oh man. Oh, dude. I think I might cry, guys, honestly. I heard on one of your videos you had to sell this album for a concert ticket 20 years ago. Actually, yeah, we'll get into that in 1 second. The next day I happened to see the same album on Fleabase, so I put in a bid. Who knew? Keep up the good work with your videos and enjoy. John, yeah, I didn't actually sell it for a concert ticket. I sold this album, and I had an original one from 1996. I had the original first pressing of this album, Tool's Aenima. And I sold it not for a concert ticket, but for a ticket, plane ticket to go meet for the first time my future wife, who is still my wife all these years later, and the mother of my children. And I've got every other every other Tool album on vinyl except for this one. So dude, you have no idea how much this means to me. This isn't an original one, but I don't care, man. The thought, the beauty of this gesture is more than words can express, dude. Wow, that you really blindsided me, John. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. This next package is from Zombie Guitar Company out of Huron, Illinois. And wow, I heard this stuff rattling around in here, and I wasn't sure if something was broken. Something might still be broken, but this is Rapco Horizon Zombie Guitar Company cable. Cool, you got your own labeled cables. That's cool. Oh, dude, a little pick holder. That's awesome. Zombie Guitar Company. Huron, Illinois, guys. I'm not sure. Do you have a website? I'm guessing you have a website. That's an awesome stick. That's going right up somewhere. That sticker. I'll try to pick a spot where you can see it. I'm kind of running out of room. Cool. Oh, right on, dude. That's some stuff. That's some stuff I didn't have. Zombie Brains pick stick. Okay, so this is like the sticky stuff that goes on your fingers, kind of like Gorilla Snot or like Picker's Grip. Oh, there's actually a pick in there. It's a couple zombie picks. Cool, dude. That's awesome. I like that it's a keychain too. That's I've always kept picks in my wallet, because my wallet has a nice little buttoned little pocket inside of my wallet that has a button on it so that stuff doesn't fall out. So I've always carried picks in that, but this would be really convenient for somebody who wants to always have a pick on them. You know what I mean? Just put it on your keychain, you'll always have a pick. Zombie Guitar Company t-shirt killer, dude. That's a 2X. So that's probably going to be for me, I'm a little dude, so that's probably for me going to be a nightgown. But that's so cool, dude. I love your logo. That's badass. Awesome. What do we have? Oh, dude. Rock on. Look at all of this stuff. Oh, so that's all that was rattling in there. So nothing was broken. I've just got a bunch of components. Let's see. This all... Yeah, that's all a bunch of new old stock stuff. Look at that. That is a light sensitive resistor. It's a photo resistor. I believe it is. Now that could also be an infrared receiver, or a sensor rather. Got a lot of cool stuff in here. Looks like we got a lot of transistors. Yeah, this is the kind of little parts hoard that always comes in handy whenever you're building something little and it's like, okay, I need a this or that. And you start looking through these things like, oh, well, there's one, and it's good to have stuff like that for that reason. Lots of resistors there. Dude, what we're, wow. A lot of half-watt resistors. Usually I use 1-watt resistors on everything in the stuff that I repair, because it's just easier to stock 1 watt and instead of stocking like 1/4 watt, half watt, 1 watt. You can get really it takes up a lot of room to keep everything in stock. So I usually just stock 1 watt, but it's nice to have a bunch of half watts on hand for smaller stuff like pedals or whatever you're trying to repair. Some more selenium diodes. Those must be really old if they're selenium. There's a 1 in 4001. Those are used all the time. Some okay. There's another one of those. Some disc capacitors, man, all kinds of stuff in here, dude. So this is going to be a probably an IC, or maybe transistor. Transistors in there. Cool. Yeah, man, this is really awesome. Thank you, dude. I appreciate this. Yeah, see, these are these couplets or couplets, whatever you want to call them. Those are pretty hard to find if you need an exact one. If you're repairing some kind of old piece of gear, some old radio or something, those are kind of hard. This looks like this is something, though, that somebody has filled this up with maybe parts out of a radio that they disassembled. Some Central Lab. Yeah, dude, this is awesome. All these disc capacitors, a lot of these will still be good, and I will use the heck out of those most likely. Bunch more transistors. That's cool. Is that a little button? Ernie Ball 1962. That's going right up over here with my button collection. I don't know if have I showed you guys my button collection before? This dude sent me, I don't know, these are like highway markers, Highway 49, Highway 61. I got this BB King thing in somewhere, and this was sent to me by a viewer. This Mickey Mouse, I can't remember where I got that, but that's vintage, it's old. That Gibson button was sent by a viewer. That Marshall button was sent by a viewer. Of course, Dream Machine. And I like that one back there. That was, I found that. I can't remember where I got it, but I got it with something else. I didn't mean to buy that. I bought some other thing at an antique store, and that came with it. That is an original 1950s Dwight Eisenhower pin. But yeah, that's my pin collection. I'm going to see where there's space here for another one. Let's put Ernie Ball. Let's put Ernie Ball maybe over here. Alright, so there's Ernie Ball. I'll have to find a place for the stickers. But yeah, thank you very much, man. I appreciate this. Okay, this package is from someone named Lyric Bread, which I assume is probably their handle maybe on YouTube. This dude contacted me. He saw where I had mentioned that I had a bunch of CDs stolen at one point a few years back, and they got all of my stuff, man. My whole adolescent, collection, which was like a huge punch in the gut. And he was like, man, I've got a bunch of stuff. It might be some stuff in there that you used to have if you want to replace it. This was one of the ones that was stolen, and I was actually looking for it the other day, and I was like, man, did they get my Lateralis CD also? Because I couldn't remember. And yes, indeed, they had gotten it. And this one, this Aenima here, look at this. What are the odds that two different people decide to send me Aenima, on two different formats at the same time? You know what I mean? And guys, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the greatest albums ever recorded. This album sat in my CD player in my car. I shit you not, for probably 3 years straight at one point, or maybe even 4 or 5 years straight. It was in or out, all that time. But just an amazing album. Lateralis was a good album too, but to me, this was the pinnacle for Tool stuff. This is a great album too. This is the one where if you take this back off, a lot of people might not know this, but there's a hidden picture. If you take this tray out, if you take that tray out, you see you get this magnificent piece of art. But yeah, this is just amazing, dude. He's like, he's just sent me this picture, like showing, his stacks of CDs, and it's like, dude, whatever you want, just let me know and I'll send them along. And I was like, man, you don't have to do that, but that's so cool. So I got those, and this is, you probably don't even know who this is, do you, just by looking at it? This is Mr. Bungle's second album. Mr. Bungle is the side project of Mike Patton, who of course is the lead singer also of Faith No More. Faith No More is a great band, but to be honest, Mr. Bungle is far superior musically. As far as I'm concerned, they're just the better band. This album in particular is a freaking masterpiece. Their first album is also a masterpiece, in a different way. You know, they're such a genre-bending band. If you've never heard Mr. Bungle, it takes some getting used to, but once you listen to it and you really digest what's going on in this music, and you realize all of the different genres that they are incorporating into their songwriting, you will be absolutely blown away. If you've never heard Mr. Bungle, check them out. To have a band that can go from like country and western to heavy metal and do it on a dime, you know, this band also is the first real band that I can remember that was doing stuff like that. Now, you know, you got a lot of people trying to do that with more or less success, but Mr. Bungle was pretty much one of the early ones that was there. I know there's, you know, prog bands going all the way back to the early 70s. You got bands like the Soft Machine and stuff in the early 70s doing stuff that was kind of similar, but Mr. Bungle, as far as I'm concerned, just perfected the art of genre bending. This is a band from high school. You know, anytime I hear any of their stuff, it takes me right back to high school. Perfect Circle. This album came out right around the time that I was going to the hospital with my girlfriend at the time. Her daughter had gotten hurt really bad, and she was really young too, so it was a real painful time. And this album came out around that time, and I just remember listening to this a lot during that time. This Pink Floyd, Momentary Lapse of Reason, this has got some really good stuff on it. On the Turning Away is a great freaking song. I think it's right up there with some of the best of Pink Floyd, to be honest. Definitely some of the best of the Gilmour-led era. Another Cake album. Yet another Cake album. This is the one I remember from high school, or right at the end of my high school career. Incubus's Make Yourself. I was more of a fan of the earlier stuff from Incubus, all this stuff really before this album, but I had this album as well, and it's got some good stuff on it. But this is kind of the start of their kind of crossing over into pop, more or less. You know, they had a lot of they were trying to be more radio friendly with this album. The album right before this one, Science, is a bloody masterpiece. If you haven't heard Science, that's a great freaking album. I thought that that's where the next, you know, big thing was going to be. It's like they took the whole rap rock thing, but they didn't really do rap rock. You know, he had some passages in the music that sounded like rap, but it wasn't really rap, I wouldn't say. But just really good stuff. Of course, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, can't go wrong with that. Unless you scratch the disc, and then you can go wrong. But this would be considered by many to be their masterpiece, I'm sure. Here's Operation Mindcrime Live. Empire. Of course, Beatles' Yellow Submarine, can't go wrong with that. Of course, The Division Bell. And I think, honestly, High Hopes is probably the greatest song that Pink Floyd ever released. It's kind of had a very special place in my heart for a long, long time, since I was a teenager. Of course, some Van Halen. You can't go wrong with Van Halen. And Vulgar Display of Power. Great freaking Pantera record, dude. And yeah, they stole all my stuff, man. Stole all my Pantera albums, all my Tool, all my everything, really. It's interesting to me that two different people decided to send me, you know, that album on two different formats at the same time. What are the odds of that? Man, thank you so much. I appreciate that very, very much. Alright guys, that'll do it for Shitpost Friday. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, hit subscribe down below. And for now, y'all take care.